and I haven't done one of these for a while, I'd say. The last one I did, I think, was in 2020. So the whole of 2021 I haven't uploaded anything regarding to the laptop collection. So because this one is so temperamental, let's wake her up. That is the HP Mini 2133. And I've just recently managed to get its backlight too. It's intermittent. The backlight has a tendency to come on and stay on when I use a Dell power adapter. I think the 1 extra volt helps kickstart the dying CCFL tube. I mean, it helps me use it up until when I finally get a new display for it, which would be helpful. I mean, it's fine. I think it's running on... I don't know if I can get up the system information. There's no search option in this version of Ubuntu. But I do know some of its specs off by heart. I believe it may have 2 gigabytes of RAM. Oh, no, there's nothing about our system monitor. This might tell me something. Memory, oh no, I think it only has 1 gigabyte of RAM in it. But I think it can go up to 2 gigabytes as a max. So I might have a look into that someday. There we go. It's been to 1404 with a VIA C7M processor and a 47 gigabyte Alert Seal SSD, which is like super cheap, but whatever, it works for what I need it to be. So that's that one done. I'll quickly pause and I'll look at the rest of the machines on the pile real quick. Now this is something new to the collection. I don't think I've ever featured this machine before. This is a 2014 11-inch MacBook Air, I think. This one's got a lot of issues wrong with it. I believe there's a sensor probably in the trackpad, which is not making connection with the motherboard, probably due to the trackpad cable. This was liquid damaged. The battery doesn't hold a charge, although it's brand new. So I think that's probably a dud battery, or something's wrong with the computer. And yeah, it runs Big Sur, so the startup chime has changed, and you probably never even heard that. Yeah, it's got the boring, dull boot chime. It's dreadful, but unfortunately I can't change the OS because of the sensor. There's been some software stuff done to it to make sure the CPU isn't bottlenecked and the fan doesn't run at 100%. Yeah, this computer takes literally forever to start up. I'd say at least it takes almost 10 minutes. And I'm not going to stick here for 10 minutes waiting for that to boot up, so I'll probably jump cut. But a few more bits of information about this. Yeah, it was liquid damaged by Coke, I think. There was a can of Coke spilt on it. The keyboard survived, like the whole keyboard hasn't had to be replaced. Surprised the motherboard made it. The DC-in board wasn't as lucky, that failed and had to be replaced, but there's a sensor on this board somewhere that's gone bad. I do have a program that allows me to check all the sensors, but I haven't figured out how to burn it to a USB stick yet, as it's a DMG file, not an ISO, so we shall see how that goes. But now I'm going to jump cut. Approximately 15 minutes later, we have booted into macOS Big Sur. Yeah, there's not really much else I can say about this computer because I've mentioned all of the specs already. It's well, it's a 2014 MacBook Air, and at least on Macs it's a lot easier to get the system specifications thing up. If I can quickly do that about this Mac. Big Sur doesn't look as different, but I think I installed a skin that made it look like High Sierra or something, just so I could handle it more. I'm not sure if I did that or not, I can't remember. I've done a lot of things to this, but I've never once mentioned this thing in a video. Oh, okay, there we go. So there's the god-awful operating system. The 11-inch early 2014. So we have a dual-core Intel Core i5. It's the 4GB MacBook Air, not the 2GB model. And has Intel HD Graphics 5000. I think 1000 megs is a gig. It's about 1 GB. pretty crap, to be honest with you. Oh, thanks Google Chrome for booting up without my explicit authorization. But yeah, then there's the MacBook. I added a Wii wallpaper for some reason because I think I was all about the Wii when I got this, and I really liked using the Wii, especially since the fact I'm using mine as a computer for whatever reason. Should probably demonstrate that sometime. I think I did. I demonstrated the Wii Linux in an older video, but I've once got I think I've got XY on there now, so it's got a graphical user interface of some sort. So that's cool. Yeah, this MacBook not only takes forever to start up, it also takes forever to shut down, so I think I'll just skip here and move on to the next machine. This is a computer that almost everybody I know hates, and the only reason I still have this is because of one of its quirky features, which literally is, oh, whoop-de-doo, the screen can flip 360 degrees. Not even 360, it just goes halfway and becomes a really stupid all-in-one. It's a Chromebook, yes, we've figured that out. It's a Lenovo N20p Chromebook. That's really all I need to say about it. It's an N20p, it's a Celeron, it's got 15 gigs of storage. And it's a Chromebook. I think I've made a video about this on April Fools of 2021. It was dreadful, and just, yeah, it's falling apart. It's missing several parts. The USB on the side has stopped working for obvious reasons because it's a Chromebook. I'm looking forward to just disposing of this someday. The only Chromebook I ever really want in this collection is a Google CR48 prototype, but unfortunately, the way they are going, they're just getting rarer and rarer. No, there's not really any way to get the system specs on a Chromebook. I can try. Maybe. There's about Chrome OS. It's unsupported, so it's literally running version 76. Yeah, there's no information on the system itself. So, yeah, the only real thing I can do with it is power it down and move on, because I don't really feel like dealing with this anymore. Moving on. This is another newbie to the collection. I think I got yesterday. Not yesterday, the day before. It's a Samsung Samsung R730. I really like this because of the trackpad. That's going to become a meme now. Trackpad. Remember that. Yeah, it says PE, so this, ironically enough, is another computer from the PE department. My luck. It's literally my luck. Like, every single computer that I've gotten from the school I get most of these machines from comes from the PE department because they're always abused. So yeah, this one is missing the U key. It's a Samsung, so it's kind of worn down. It's got a Pentium in it. It's pretty low quality. It's 4 gigabytes. But yeah, it's not really much to chat about, to be honest with you. It's called Staff D113 for some reason. Don't know why. But yeah, there's your Pentium dual-core T5400, 2.30 GHz, got 4 gigs of RAM, some 320 gig hard drive or whatever. What size? What capacity is the drive? I never actually stopped to check. No. Out of 596, this is 640 gigs. Not bad. Not bad at all. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, my ThinkPad is doing something in the background. I don't know what on earth it's doing. That'll be next. But yeah, this is just a Samsung R730. It's actually the first 17-inch laptop I have in my collection. So I'm kind of happy about that. The power jack on it is actually broken, so but it works. It's broken, but it works. There's not really much else to talk about. This doesn't have any built-in special features aside from the trackpad that I'm so adamant about, but that's it. If I just unplug this without shorting anything out. I'll tell you exactly what's broken in the charging port. Literally, if you look in there with the... Where is it? Yeah, that's pretty bad. So if those two touch, it's game over. Let's get that out of the way. There's not really much else. I've got to remove the LG DVD player and the Sky Plus HD box. For whatever reason, those are still here. DVD player should have gone back in the cupboard, and I should have parted the Skybox out for bits for the other Skybox that I actually want to keep. But enough about Skyboxes, let's move on to the next computer, which is this Toshiba. This is a Toshiba Satellite C660 1D7. This used to be my cousin's daily driver, but he recently got I think it was a Lenovo ThinkPad T440S, which is like a really bad soldered. I'm not one to judge ThinkPad models, but I personally don't like it very much. I mean, I'd like another ThinkPad in the ThinkPad collection, but I think we could possibly do without a T440S. I'm thinking of probably just getting a T420 or an X220 or just some of the actual real ThinkPads, as people call them. ThinkPads that aren't them. But yeah. What can I say? Anyway, this is running Bobbitt's system, which in reality is nothing special. It's just Ubuntu 18.04? I think it's 18.04. 17. I think it was Ubuntu 70 or Ubuntu 18, but it's been skinned and customized and all sorts of things. Aftermarket, of course. I didn't build the distro yet. I might actually turn that into a real Linux distro with Ubuntu 20.04, because at least someone will actually use it, because it's up to date. But, basically all it is just skinned Ubuntu. It's nothing special. But it's based off of the amazing world of Gumball character Bobbit. So, yeah. Bobbitt's system theoretically is Ubuntu. Or Linux, not Ubuntu. But in my instance, it's running off of Ubuntu. Yeah, it is literally just Ubuntu. There is nothing specific to talk about. Yeah. This specific computer has a webcam. There it is. Webcam and microphone. They were pretty decent. I've actually used those at one point since my cousin destroyed my ThinkPad. Oh no, my Windows 7 product key that I'll totally never use again. That's the information on the bottom of the machine. There's our little startup chime, which I downloaded off the internet because I'm a sado. There's our wallpaper. Yes, I can notice you've seen the macOS dock. I mean, what's to say that it's not modern? That used to be an Apple logo, but with a bunch of editing, I didn't resize it properly, but changed it to the little infinity symbol, which is like that. I really like this installation. It'll be a shame when the hard drive in here finally gives out. I mean, I'm not surprised it's an original Apple 500GB drive out of a MacBook Pro. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this fails on me suddenly. Let's get the system information up since I can actually... There we go. Yeah. So this is a bit. It's Ubuntu 18.10. Yeah, that's out of service. So I had to change the sources.list file so that it can download things from old releases.ubuntu.com instead of archive.ubuntu.com. That's actually that's a tip. Well, I'll make a tutorial about that someday when I get another computer running an old version of Ubuntu. We've got 6GB of RAM in this computer, an Intel Core i3 M380, whoop-de-doo, all of my C660s have them. It's got Intel Iron Lake graphics, I don't know if that's any good. GNOME 3.30.1, 64-bit with 500GB hard drive, and I can check for updates, but there are none. So there's that machine. I can't be bothered, I just want to turn it off. Yeah, I used to have this running an older version. I think it was Kubuntu on the other one, which is there. But unfortunately, same person broke the screen on that one, so that's kind of a dud now. But we'll get to that in a bit, because that's got more history than that one. That one used to run Windows 10, as far as I'm aware, but we don't talk about that as often. This is a MacBook Pro, the serial number on here is wrong because this is the bottom cover off of another Mac. This is a MacBook Pro 2010, 13-inch. It's a MacBook, not really much to talk about. It's my daily driver Mac. This is the Mac I use for everything because I like this one more than the Air, despite the Air being newer. Yeah, I think this thing, I'll probably use this until either it dies or I die, because honestly, I love this thing to the end of the earth. This is probably one of the earlier laptops I've had in the collection. I've had this Mac forever. Along with, what else did I have back then? I had the Toshiba 4000 CDS, the Samsung X30, the HP 6100, and I think the EPC, the white one. Oh, and a Dell, which is down there. Yeah, so this is just a MacBook Pro. It's very old and unsupported, and quite frankly looked down upon now because everyone's like, ooh, you know, got to get all the M1s, all the fancy, all the soldered horrible components, and the Retina screen. This is actually not Retina. I believe this is CCFL. No, it's not. No, it's not. Macs are LED driven because fancy. This has not changed. I don't think I've actually used it at all because I've been using my ThinkPad more. Because I'm more of a Windows guy than Mac. Whatever. I have so many iPhones now. Just iCloud cannot keep up with them. They're like, you've added 3 new iPhones to your iCloud account. But we just figured we'd tell you. When will it get the point that I don't care? Yeah. Anyway, this is macOS High Sierra. That's the actual serial number of the computer. So if you want all the specs, just pop that into Mac Tracker or whatever. Yeah, it's a 13-inch mid-2010 Core 2 Duo, 8GB of RAM, NVIDIA GeForce 320M, pretty low-end graphics card, but hey, what am I going to do? Displays, just the internal 1220 by 800 screen. Storage has got a 128GB SanDisk SSD, a very old SanDisk SSD, but it keeps chugging along because holy crap, that thing won't give up. There's the RAM, 2 4s, I think it's kind of obvious we give 8. There's the support, there's the Surface. No, I don't have AppleCare because I can't pay for that. It's bullcrap. But that's it. It's the Mac that I've stored most of the files that I've ever accumulated over the years. In fact, this thing has had so many full hard drive moments, I've actually had to transfer them over onto another Mac, which I think was this one. But I think I might have to wipe that one soon. But yeah, that's the MacBook Pro. A tip, untick where it says reopen Windows when logging back in. That disables startup programs, or whatever you had running when it was previously going, so that's a tip. This has a coffee heat mark, because the idiot who used to own it probably stuck coffee on top. In fact, there was a coffee stain on top, but the dog licked it off. In fact, the dog did a pretty good job. It's kind of clean. There's this gouging, I think, here, which I don't know if I can get rid of that or not. But this is probably the shiniest, most nicest condition 13-inch Mac I have. So there's that one out of the way. So let's move on to the next one, actually. I'm not going to bother jump cutting, because I'm not going to turn this one on. This is another one. It's a 13-inch MacBook Pro 2010. This only has 4GB of RAM in it, I think, and 320GB Samsung... No, that's not Samsung, that's HGST hard drive. A battery that I yanked out of another MacBook. This one came from school, I think, years ago. Same place I got the HP Mini from. Yeah, this one unfortunately has a dead backlight fuse. Like, I can't, I'll power it on anyway. I don't have a flashlight anywhere, or any form of light that I can point up against it. I don't have a phone aside from the one I'm holding. I suppose I can point it up to my bedroom light. This will be really finicky. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there's a faint Apple logo through the screen. Yeah, it's dead. The fuse blew when I repasted it. I was connecting the display connector back with a little metal bracket touched the pins on the connector, sent 50 volts somewhere and blew the backlight fuse. Which is good because it could have just as easily blown the backlight driver, which may have also been eaten, by the way. Because I'm pretty sure MacBook fuses don't blow that easily. I mean, we can try. This is going to be an episode of Let's Fix It, and I will be selling this to a friend because I don't want it anymore. Yes, oh my god, Luke doesn't want his Mac collection anymore? No, I'm making room for Macs I actually want. Like, I swear I have so many of these 13-inch MacBook Pros, I'm eating them. Quite frankly, I'm literally eating them. I don't like them. This had the PE. This has a PE drive from the PE department of a school. I don't even know if... So many computers come from schools now, I can't remember which ones they came from. Not mentioning them for obvious reasons, but... Yeah, this was a PE machine, as with the Samsung. Well, this machine itself wasn't a PE machine. The one I think I took the drive out of was a PE machine. As with the Samsung. So, I'm not going to bother anymore with this computer. I'll just wait for it to boot to the prompt and then I'll shut it down with the power button. This is junk. It's a ZooStorm PlayTab tablet. No one wants to buy these. These are crap and I only want one, so binning it. This is the screen from my ThinkPad A319 3TG ThinkPad Edge 15. It's cracked. Bin. This is a HP... God, I keep forgetting the model number. What is it? It's... Oh yes, it's an HP 15AC153SA. This is a Core i7. But unfortunately, because the motherboard... I mean, the CPU is dead, because it's an HP 15. Whoop-de-doo. And the hinges snapped, and I believe, yeah, I had to just scrap the whole top half of the computer, because the hinges were just snapped. CPU's dead, motherboard is trashed, this thing is literally just a parts machine. I'm just going to break it apart, sell it for spares or repairs. It used to be laptop 16 somewhere. Yeah, there's nothing much to talk about this is just complete crap. I did take the fan out of it for another computer in the family that whoop-de-doo was the same one, surprisingly. Yeah. This one, I think, works, but I'll need to get a charger for it, so I'll quickly jump cut. Now, I do have a official charger for this laptop, but I don't use it. Well, I want to use it, but it's broken. Now, what I've done wrong here is I haven't actually plugged the power adapter back in, because I had the MacBook Air plugged in. See, I hate having all these chargers, but not enough sockets. This is why I'm looking forward to moving house. Fingers crossed my new bedroom has a lot more sockets than this one. This one only has 2 sockets, surprisingly. That one, and one all the way over there, for the TV. 2 sockets. So this is a Toshiba Satellite C660 22C. This is the one I'm hopefully going to sell. This was a gift. Yeah, I know. I'm a horrible person selling a gift someone gave me. Yeah, this was a gift from when I left another school. This, I believe, was just abandoned. The backstory with this is it was abandoned in a catering classroom. Just abandoned. The cables, I believe, the IT department had a use for. With the laptop, they said, "Oh God, it's XP. Throw it away." And this, I believe, was the gateway to me having a small voluntary job in the IT department. So I actually want to thank this computer for its faithful services. That's if I do decide to sell it. I want space, but I don't want to sell it. But I already have another A300. This one is one of the models of the NEC token capacitor in it, so if this fails, I think I'm better off keeping this, because I know how to replace the cap, rather than sticking it with someone else who'll probably bin it. Yeah, I think I'll keep this one, actually. And because it's got the imprint of the school on it. If I try to sell it, it's a bit weird. Of course, this one's registered to the thing, because it wasn't never wiped. But yeah, it's Windows XP thing. It's got an Intel T3400 and 1GB of RAM. It's special. It's a microscope PC, so it was paired, or used to be paired, with a Digital Blue QX5 microscope, but that's obviously long gone. Has ClownWin antivirus because Avast didn't work with it. I might actually stick AVG 2012 or whatever. No, not 2012. AVG 3 on here or whatever. I need to uninstall Opera 1204 because it's out of date. Because I've got Opera 36. Opera 36 is good for Windows XP. It's one of the good browsers. It can run on anything down to 1 gig, which is quite fun. So that's that. Nothing really special, just an XP machine. That's, well, it was gonna be leaving the collection, but now it's I think it's here to stay. Which is good because I'd probably get arrested if I tried to sell it. So you got lucky this time. People are not gonna like this though, because people think, hey, why'd you have two machines of the same brand? And I'm like, well, they're not the same model. They're slightly different. But no, these literally look identical. There's only a few subtle differences that only the eaglest of eyes. I mean, this one has a webcam, the other one don't. This one's got MSATA. Oh, it's on the other side. This one's got MSATA, the other one doesn't. It's got, I think this one runs Vista, the other one doesn't. It's got XP on it. Well, this one doesn't run Vista, but it supports Vista. Yeah. Just a scuffy old Toshiba, and I think this broken vent will prevent it being sold anyways. Oh no, my XP product key again. What will do? Yep, information. It was electrically tested for electrical safety on August 2017. It was due to be tested in 2018, but never got around to doing it because it's mine. Now, this is a Toshiba Satellite. I forgot the model number of this one. It's a C660, but it's a different model. 2EL. C660 2EL. Not 1D7 like the other one. This runs Windows 10. I'm actually not going to bother booting this one up because the screen's broken. It's missing a key. I'm going to restore this and sell it. It's got a Skype thing. Oh, Skype video calling. Claim your free Skype thing at that link that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, this I had to use as a daily driver. I put Ubuntu on it, and I think I had a Lady in the Tramp wallpaper, if I remember. Yes, I did. And yeah, this was working up until the screen was destroyed by a person I won't mention. Yeah, it was there. It's the same spec as this, except it's got, I think this one's got 2 GB of RAM, and a 500 gig hard drive again. That's another Toshiba drive, I think. Can't remember. Again, just, that's what it is. That's what it is. No, actually, no, this doesn't even have a drive in it at all. Looking through the vent, there's no drive. Okay, this has 0 GB of storage. Has a Western Digital nothing. Yeah, this is literally just a broken computer. Oh, this one will be a restoration job someday. As a repair. I'll fit this one in the same clip as well, because why not? This is a Dell Inspiron. I thought it was a Latitude. A Dell Inspiron 3000. M200 ST. It's an Intel Pentium MMX processor. That's it. It's got about, I think, 16 megabytes of onboard RAM. It's got a little screen, which is really cool. I don't want this anymore. Eventually, I will stick it online somewhere and sell it. This is explicitly for parts. Like, the thing for the screen's broken off. The screen works, backlight works, keyboard's knackered. Trackpad works fine, everything's fine, battery doesn't work, and I can't get it out anyways because it's swollen up and it's leaking. So I ain't gonna get that out with a crowbar or something. Here's some information about the system. Stop the video to read it. Turn this light off because it's being annoying. Yep, there we go. There it is, M200 ST Rev A06. Keyboard BIOS, I don't know, the keyboard has a BIOS. Keyboard's screwed, like, I can press F2 and it will go into the BIOS. Yeah, apparently the left arrow key goes up or down. It's really weird. I've really broken the keyboard in this. There's nothing else to mention about this computer. It's completely garbage. And apparently this was around the time that Dell had a website. So there's that. And moving on, I haven't even started on the main pile yet. Oh my god. But yeah, next on the pile is this, which is my old Lenovo ThinkPad Edge E530C. Now the problem with this is I can get my finger in the correct position. Its hinge is completely broken, like the little magnesium bracket in there is snapped off. The bezel's crumbling as we speak. This entire computer, and yeah, the dodgy power socket. This entire machine is probably going to be a resto project, maybe. But I think a new entire palm rest due to the missing standoff will cost way more than the machine is worth. Because let's face it, it's a ThinkPad Edge. I won't get any more than 100 quid for it, even if I try. But yeah, this was my old daily driver. And I did abuse this thing quite a bit, regrettably. But that's it. There's no RAM in here, there's no hard drive, there's no anything, so it won't boot. For the next machine I'll have to set up a monitor. But yeah, getting to the last machine in the pile, so jump cut. This is a ThinkPad Edge 0319-3TG Edge 15. Now there is some information here, but considering since the system has no screen, I don't have to point at it. What I will be pointing at is my little computer screen over there. It's a little Luxor TV, but I have to take so many precautions when wiring something up to that TV. It's literally unbelievable. Yeah, there's a fault with this computer. The fan will literally ramp up to 100 miles per hour. If I just gotta hit the video out button. Yeah, it's yeah, I think the management engine is screwed on here. About the TV is I always have to unplug it from the mains when I change connections because it always sends 240 volts of leakage current down. There's no amps. It's not dangerous. It's just volts, but it sends 240 volts, 0 amps down the down any output. It basically just grounds itself to the TV chassis, which will then ground itself through the wires and then ground itself into, say, a metal PC chassis that's not grounded. Yeah, this runs Windows 10 1507. And apparently if you sign into your Microsoft account, I'll point away from that because I no, shit, I think it was here. Yeah. Damn it. You saw nothing. Yeah, it basically copies over your profile, so your color scheme, your wallpapers, even the start menu, vaguely, is copied over. There's not really much to talk about this. Oh, there we go, system. I like the fact that you can still type and search for things. This is what I do with Windows 8.1, since I have the start menu on here. Or the start screen, as it's called. Sorry about that. Yeah. It's very slow. It's unactivated as well. System, About, please. Yeah, this thing is extremely slow. The specs is a... Oops. Core i3, M380, 4GB of RAM, so that's 2 times 2. 160GB Seagate hard drive that I ripped out of a netbook. Oh, there we go. I don't think if you can see it, I'll hold that there for a bit. Windows 10 Professional, apparently, that's pretty cool. But, yeah, there's not really much else I can do with it. So, I'll shut this thing down. After about 30 minutes exactly, it will shut itself down. It's like a defense mechanism. I think this has the same sort of issue, more or less, with the original Xbox. Because I think mine has an issue with its ADM 1032 temperature sensor, which has definitely gotten around to replacing. it will shut itself down to protect the CPU, even though the CPU is only running at about 38 degrees, which is perfectly within its bounds. It's like, that's nothing. 38 degrees is like Antarctica level of temperature. It really should just be panicking when the thing starts overheating like 300%. So before I unplug that, I'll have to turn the TV off, make sure it's all discharged. It's just a massive lots of precautions I have to take before touching the VGA connector, or indeed anything that's plugged into that TV. So another jump cut whilst I move to, well, there's a netbook on the floor, I'll get that out. In this part, I will be discussing, well, this is something I forgot to put in the previous video. This is the ThinkPad Edge E530C, the new one. It's different because it's got the HyperX sticker on it. I don't know where well, no I do. The sticker came from a place I worked at. They had a couple available. Because the screen is a bit bright on here. Dim it down a bit so the camera doesn't have a stroke trying to look at it. Yeah, if I just type in system. There it is. There's all the information. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, an i3 3110M processor, Windows 8.1 Pro. It's definitely not Windows 8, it's 8.1. Just got to specify that. But yeah, it's my daily driver, I use it all the time. It's got a DVD in the drive, I'm not going to reject the drive for some reason. Why would I even do that anyways? Yeah, I'm looking forward to upgrading this thing to an mSATA SSD, getting rid of the drive for extra hard drive, 16 gigs of RAM. It's going to be fun. So that's the end of that machine. Let's move on to one that's actually from the shelf up top. So yeah, I'll just get that out of the way. Now this is a oh god, this right here is a Lenovo 3000 N500. It's nicknamed by ThinkPad elitists by as fake thinks, or fake thonks, I think. Yeah, this is basically the lower end variant of Lenovo. It's Lenovo's budget line of business computers. They had the ThinkPads, and then that they bought off IBM, and then they had the 3000 series. So this is the N500. This is a slightly newer version. If I move this post-it note up here, you can see it's designed for Windows Vista. Don't worry, that's normal. That happens sometimes. I think it's something to do with the display cable. Might be wrong. Yeah, this has TrueCrypt on it, but the owner. I think I got that right. Yeah, I did. I got it wrong. Again. Yeah, the owner decided to stupidly paste the password on the post-it notes. I won't be showing the post-it notes for obvious reasons, but in fact, now let's get 1 minute. After several wrong attempts, I finally managed to get the password right. I should probably remove TrueCrypt from here, but I don't know if that's possible. Yeah, it's nothing really special. It's just a lower budget line of the ThinkPad range. I would show you around the thing, but there's too much of a risk of getting the post-it notes. The post-it notes caught. Now something interesting that it does mention is one of them says pad does not work. That's incorrect because where was the button that they had it? Oh yes, they had that button enabled, which disables the trackpad. So the moment I tapped that button, the light went off, and the trackpad still doesn't work. Let's try that again. It's very weird. I think I might have just buggered the trackpad again. 1 second, I'll fetch a mouse. Helps when you have mice on hand. Let's just boot into the inspection user account. The speakers on here are pretty decent, however it has the strange low pitch issue some XP installations have. I do think it's a problem with the sound card driver. As you probably have noticed, this is the OEM copy of Windows XP for this system. And it has all the trimmings. It has the Lenovo Care application, although it doesn't actually work. Don't know why. The browser is Kmelion because I did install Opera 36, but Opera 36 for some unknown reason crashes whenever you try to do a search for anything. Even if you type in about blank, it crashes. So what's it doing? Oh, the hard drive's at 100% disk usage. Yeah, a lot of my computers do that now. But that's just the thing about it. Right, let's try this again. Get the properties to come up. However, I haven't actually looked at the properties. Not the properties of my computer, as in the properties of my computer. General. No. Much better. Registered. Oh no, it doesn't have anything. There we go. There, that's the thing. It's got a T3400 with, I believe, 1 GB of RAM. XP Professional Service Pack 3, manufactured supported by Lenovo, all of that jazz. Yeah, the only issue I have with this is TrueCrypt. And the weird flickery white screen at the beginning. It was actually a spot of luck, I caught that on camera. Yeah, I've got the Lenovo Care application, the Lenovo Care button, neither of which do anything. So in reality I'm wasting my time. But that's the system itself. There's not much else to talk about with it. It does have these little interesting touch buttons, which I may have already looked at. Yeah, a tip with Windows XP is it doesn't like you shutting it down the moment you've booted it up. So it's the scheduler.exe prompt will come up with. I don't care. Yeah, the rescue prompt will come up. Yeah, these little touch buttons, they do neat things like up and down the volume button and do cool features like that. I don't know if I should probably remove the post-it notes from here, but that's all I can do. So let's close this thing before I get the post-it notes in shot. But yeah, I like it. It's got the big fat Lenovo badge up top. It's a nice computer in my eyes. I like this one. So we're gonna move down the list to another one. This is another computer. This is the Samsung R505. This, I believe, used to be my mum's main computer of some sort. Here it's got the usual batch of lie. Well, not really. I think this is mostly true. Except that, and probably now that, and that. But I think the rest of this, except for the Recovery Solution 3, is correct. It's got Windows 7 on it. It has ATI premium graphics, Aetherios Wi-Fi, AMD Tyrion X2. This is an AMD laptop. I don't actually have that many AMD laptops. I think I have 2 out of everything. The rest of them are all Intel machines. Yeah, it's got the usual shiny aesthetic Samsung gives it. Got some expansion slots down the side. It's got card bus, I think. I smell something burning. Something is on fire down here. Or is it just the computer because I haven't powered it on in a while? Because this Samsung does get notoriously warm. I don't know. I just have to wait for something to go up in flames. Oh, that'll be entertaining. Yeah, it's got VGA, single USB. There's other USBs on the back, I assume. Windows 7 Home Premium. Focus, damn it. The issue with this is it has a bunch of startup programs, so this thing is slowed the heck down. And when I mean it's slowed the heck down, I mean it is literally brought to its knees. And I have been generous with this machine. I have stuck an extra 2 gigabytes of RAM in here. Some said 3 gigs, it has 4 gigs. Apparently that's still not enough to satisfy the unit. What on earth is... Oh, it's the floor. I felt something heating up under my foot, but it's the floor. I think there's pipes running under my floor. Yeah, this one also takes a while to get to the desktop, so I'll do a jump cut. Okay, so here it is at the desktop. It's pretty packed. It's got a bunch of programs on it because I had to use this for online learning at one point. Yes, I did have to use 4 gigs of RAM for online learning. I know, sue me. I have to load up the control panel and find system because I'm too lazy to right click on computer. In fact, no, screw that. That's being... Oh, I'll be lazy. Lazier. Yes. Yeah, Windows 7 has a tendency to lock up, especially when the hard drive is trying to keep up with all of your tasks loading in at once. There has to just be one big switch in control panel for startup programs. You can flick it off instead of going through and selecting everything and just saying off, 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 off. Yeah, I literally, all I want is a freaking, the properties of the computer. I think I've already discussed about it already. I think that's nothing new. I mean, look at that. I think I've pretty much explained all of this. It's got a 320 gigabyte or something odd Western Digital drive. It's literally nothing special. This computer has not changed at all since I've got it, with the exception of a few programs I installed. And yeah, Vista drivers, because it's a Vista machine, because, ooh, scary. Whatever, go away. Yeah, again, this one also takes a while to shut down, so I'll just jump cut to the next machine at this point. This computer is both a pain in the arse and also one of my favourite computers in the collection. It's the HP, can't remember, the HP DV6, oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, its Northbridge has failed again. Well, that's unfortunate. Usually it runs Windows 7 Home Premium, I think. Yeah, the Northbridge on here broke because I didn't clean the vents out. I left it doing folding at home and then it just overheated, and I think the soldables under the RX 880 AMD Northbridge just couldn't handle the strain anymore and cracked, and here we are. The Northbridge chip on here is notoriously unreliable, and I can never... Well, I want to get a replacement, but what's the point? It'll just fail again in a couple of years. So, unfortunately, that one's knackered, and I'll have to take that apart again. It's nothing bad, it's just a quick 1-minute reflow job, again. But that's kind of irritating, because I really wanted to show this off working in a video, but in reality, I haven't changed it much. It's the same as in the previous video in 2020, it's when it was working. So I guess I'll just be moving that around, doing something with it, but for now it's knackered, so that onto the broken shelf that one goes. Moving on. Moving on to something that isn't actually dead. This is the Dell Inspiron 6400. This should work. It does. Good. What do you want? What do you mean the battery? It's official freaking Dell adapter. What do you mean that something's gone wrong? Honestly, that adapter is really weird. It doesn't like half of the Dells I plug it into. I have to share it between 3 whole computers, and so far 2 have complained about it. I don't really know what... It's a real adapter. It's genuine. But, it's very weird. So yeah, this is the Inspiron 6400 backstory. Someone gave it to me, along with a printer. And it had an inverter fault and hinge failure, which I fixed. Well, fixed is an understatement. Yeah, this one still has a few personal files on it which I haven't bothered to wipe off yet. I should probably get around to doing that soon. But I mostly like it because of how cluttered the desktop is. Now, I don't really like showing the desktop much on here. So, just gonna get the specs of the system up. This has the best speakers in it, personally, or not the best. The DV6, the late DV6 has the best speakers. This is the runner-up, the second best speakers. And then the Asus X54C has the third best speakers. Nothing else beats those three, because they're all media computers in themselves. This one's got buttons on it to do all the cool fancy mute, unmute, volume up, down stuff. It's cool. I didn't want that. I didn't want my computer. I wanted the specs of my computer. Oh no, the desktop's disappeared. Well, at least now I can show you the desktop. Woohoo! I think Explorer might have had a stroke here. Last time I checked, the hard drive was in good health. So something's happened here. I might try running this DV6 until it gets hot enough to like softly reflow it enough for it to make contact and boot. But maybe we'll come back to the DV6 later, but at the moment it's knackered. Okay, all the icons are back now. That was weird. Hard drive's still under a bit of stress, so we're gonna not... No, that's control panel. No, thank you. I want the properties of the computer, please. This is not the OEM Dell installation. I have had to specify that many times before. This has Office 2003 installed on it. Then again, there we go, registered to Pookie, which is oddly and weird. T2250 Intel Core 2 Duo, I think, because it says Centrino Duo. It's probably a Core 2. Yeah, 1 GB of RAM, which I'm surprised only 1 gig shows up because I swear there was 2 gigs in this thing. But yeah, let's shut her down. In good time. I like this because the DVD drive is on the other side, as opposed to on that side where most of the DVD drives on laptops default to. Dell is really interesting when it comes to their computers. This one I think also has an ATI, a dedicated GPU, like a full-on slotted graphics card in here. It's really, really nice. I'm not sure if it can play GeForce yet, because of the RAM issue. But as soon as I update the RAM, this thing is gonna fly. This thing is really gonna fly. Anyways, I can now show the screen since personal information is probably not visible. Yeah, so that's the Dell. My camera likes to flicker around sometimes. I don't know what the hell that's all about. But yeah. Story of my life. Some machines, I don't really know why the DV6 keeps dying, because I swear I reflowed it to a decent amount, and then it just keeps failing again. I mean, surely, when will I manage to make sure those solder balls have not cracked? But anyway, that's the 6400, and let's move on to the next machine. This is the mighty Dell Latitude C660 that I restored as in an episode of Let's Fix It. It's not fully restored just yet. I need to get a new battery. The LAN card I need a new LAN card, and I need some screws. But last time I showed this off, I'm pretty sure I didn't boot it into anything. Well, this time I've actually I shelled out about £20 for a new ID hard drive I overpaid, and I'm embarrassed. And I stuck Windows 2000 on here because I figured it was suitable enough for the time period. I mean, it did say it was designed for 2000, and it's hideously worn out sticker. Not many people like Windows 2000. I think it's bearable. It's literally just XP without the trimmings. Yeah, there's not much I've done to this thing. Specs. Well, specs at the moment is 128 megabytes of system RAM. I think it's a 40 or an 80 gigabyte hard drive. I can't remember. It's a Toshiba drive. Intel Pentium 3, 750 MHz, and an ATI M3 graphics card without the fan. I will be planning a modification on this computer soon with the extra cooling fan. I'll be daisy chaining it off the CPU line, but I'll be cutting the yellow wire so that the GPU fan will run at 100% and the system management controller can only focus on temperature regulating the CPU fan. Because I heard that if you try to run them both, it'll confuse the thing and maybe cause damage. Yeah, hang on, properties. Not really much to talk about here, to be honest with you. Just Windows 2000 Service Pack 1, I should probably update it to Service Pack 4, like everyone else. 128 megs of RAM, just 8080 compatible. So you can dock it into an ATAT walker and it will work fine for some reason. Wallpaper, I just used one I found on my ThinkPad. I just thought, hey, that's suitable enough. CD-ROM drive in here doesn't work. I think the laser's too weak. I'll try adjusting the potentiometer. But there's not much to talk about on the Dell C600. I'm still really angry about the DV6 dying, but what can I do? It's a DV6. Screw you, AMD, honestly. But yeah, that's the beloved C600. Moving on to another beloved machine. This is the Focus. This is the RM GT8000. This is my favourite laptop out of the RMs I own. I think I own 3 RMs. This is a 650 megahertz Pentium 3, I want to think. This thing's backlight is slowly failing at the bottom, which is really sad, but it'll come back at the top. Yes, you saw that. It runs Windows Millennium Edition. Now, before you start, put the keyboards down. Before you start berating me in the comments, this runs Windows Millennium Edition for a reason. That's purely because its driver support is, well, exquisite. The only issues with this machine that I can possibly note is, of course, the slowly failing backlight, which I believe is due to me stacking several computers on top of it. And the floppy drive, yes, this has a floppy drive, the belt's gone in it. It's a Citizen drive, so, it's gonna need work done to it. This computer, I believe, has an S3 Savage MXIX graphics card, which is helpful because I have drivers for Windows 98 off the RM, well, not the RM website, but off of some place that had the Samsung drivers available. I don't know where they are now. They're residing on some disk somewhere. I'll quickly load up CPU ID because I don't actually know what CPU I've got in here. Yeah, 650 MHz Pentium 3 processor. I believe the main board mentions it's from Samsung. Oh no, manufacturer is RM PLC. Okay. Yeah, there's the Southbridge chipset. Don't like talking about any sorts of bridges or chipsets because of you. You ruined this entire video, damn it. Yeah. There's not really much else to talk about. I mean, it is the Doom machine. Yeah. I play Doom on here. I also play Half-Life, the original one, Half-Life 1. It actually runs pretty well. It has only 128 megs of RAM, but if I up it to 512, which I think is what most Pentium 3 laptops of the era support, there's no actual posted maximum memory spec for this. I think this is based off a Samsung notebook, so if anyone knows what the max RAM is for the Samsung GT8000, or if you own an RM and it's maxed out, just stick what it is down in the comments, because I have no bleeding clue what it is, but yeah. So I know the program's terminated, you don't have to tell me. But yeah, it also has the MIRC client for the Mac Yak IRC thing. You know, I don't have a Power PC or a 68K machine that works. Well, I do, and I don't. I have a Power PC Mac and the Classic 2, which is the only functioning 68K machine I have. But we're talking about laptops. We're not talking about desktops. I'll probably do the desktops in another video. Besides, I've already made a video about the freaking Mac already. Anyway, that's the RM. Beautiful RM emblem that lights up just the same way a MacBook would. But there's that. It's got a little AV out port. Doesn't work in Windows, but it will come up on the BIOS screen on a TV if you was to plug it in. So that's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. The RM GT8000. Now this is my old ThinkPad, the ThinkPad Edge 150319-3TG. I've actually restored this one using guts from the other one. So I've actually replaced the touchpad, I've replaced the keyboard, and I've replaced the screen. It's now got stickers on it, which makes me feel better about myself. I genuinely love this computer. Its hard drive, I think, is going bad, though. It doesn't bother me because I have an entire image on that machine. This runs Windows 8.1. It's basically the same as the E530C, but a slightly older image. So it doesn't have as many programs as the E530C. So I'll just sign in to that one. That was wrong. There we go. This is a nice machine. I like how the trackpad isn't as worn as it used to be. I feel sad because I actually booted up the DV6 a couple of days ago. It was working fine. I replaced the CMOS battery in it as well. You can't have everything in life, though. It was my fault to begin with. It probably would have been working if I hadn't have tried running Folding at Home on it. But yeah, there you go. That's literally it, just minus programs. It's the same damn image. There's nothing special about it. It's the same spec as the other one, M380. I think this one has a 320 gigabyte hard drive. And I want to say 4 gigs of RAM. I'm not too sure actually. Let's look at that up. Yeah, this one's also slightly slower than the old one, than the new Edge. Yeah, there's a reason I moved to the E530C. Otherwise, I would have still been on this Edge. I mean, yeah, it's a ThinkPad Edge, but I think it looks at least slightly nicer than the other one. There we go. So there it is. Windows 8.1 Pro, M380. Oh, it has 6 gigs. Not bad. Oh, I know why. Because I pulled the RAM out of the burnt out. Well, not the burnt out. The G56 was burnt out. The G6 2276 SA that was liquid damaged. I think I just yanked the RAM out of that. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that ThinkPad. Let's move on to another machine in the pile. This is a MacBook Pro 2008 15-inch A1285, I think. It's got 2 hard drives in it. Dang it, I can't remember what else about it. Oh, yeah, I think it has 4 gigs of RAM. Not really much else to discuss about this computer, aside from the fact the DVD slot doesn't work anymore, because of course there's another hard drive in there. It works. It's just old. It's just too old to be of any use, so it's part of the collection. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, dude, you have too many machines. And yeah, I do. I'm very much aware of that, so I will be getting rid of some of the machines. And I know I say this all the time, and I'm like, don't worry, I'll throw things away eventually, and I never get around to doing it. That's obvious, I know. I am trying to get this strange hobby of mine under control, but it's only a matter of time until I probably lose my mind and just end up dying under a pile of laptops that have fallen onto me. Anyway, oh, I forgot this thing has what program was it? It's like a mouse sharing application that's on here. So if I go too far off of the screen, the mouse will go into the ThinkPad, which has its screen shut. It's cool. It's like the free version of Synergy, except not as fancy as Synergy. This has TeamViewer on it. I mean, I should probably take that off because TeamViewer sucks. Anyway, there's the information about it. It's a 15-inch oh, it's 2009. Okay, it's newer than I thought. Cool 2 Duo, 6 gigs of RAM, backup, GeForce 9400M, just bleh. It's old, it's out of date, it's just not really much I can say about it. I'm not as excited as I used to be. But what can I say? I mean, it only has 13% battery life left, just like me. Pretty sure I only have 13% left. Anyway, I think we're coming to the end of that pile now. I'll just move on to the final machine on the stack, which is the Toshiba. And hopefully I can feel slightly better about myself. Because, yeah. Anyway, moving on. This is the Toshiba Satellite 4000 CDS. This is a computer I can actually feel good about myself with because phew. Didn't push the power button hard enough. Yeah, so on Christmas I got a new toy, which in theory was a little hard drive, not hard drive, a little Toshiba password remover. And basically what it is a DB25 printer plug. You stick it in the back of the computer, boot it up, and it wipes any supervisor, hypervisor, system startup password you have. And did wonders, since this computer is completely bricked due to that password. I couldn't use it at all. And now I've done it. I've changed the theme to something that isn't from the Wild West. I've changed the sounds so they sound normal. This theme, I think I downloaded from archive.org, just it's there. Search up Oliver and Company, it comes up. Oh, you know what? I've typed my password out so many times. I'm pretty sure people have seen it completely now. I'm so getting hacked because of this. I mean, not really, because you've only seen me type like the first 3. Surprisingly, for a very old laptop with 1 speaker, it's supposed to have 2, but I broke the second speaker. This has probably the best audio I have ever seen from something with a passive matrix screen. I don't say that often, but I think we could probably make this a runner. Uh-oh. Explorer. That's not good. Oopsie. That wasn't supposed to happen now, was it? Explorer has crashed. Can I just ignore it and continue in Explorer, or will I have to reboot the system? Yeah, something's gone wrong here. Yeah, one sec. I'll reboot the system and I'll get back as soon as I've reached the desktop. Okay, a couple minutes later, just give the thing a quick reboot, and here we are. It's got the Microsoft Office sidebar, which is pretty cool. Norton Antivirus 1.1.0 or something. It's got an archived copy of MSN on, this thing is a treasure trove of old programs. I personally, I love this. I think it's really good. If I quickly just go into the properties, you can see it is indeed the Toshiba, oh dear, pardon me, the Toshiba OEM installation. Yeah, not really much else to mention. Just an old Toshiba. Doesn't do much, but it's mine, so I might be a bit scared about its hard drive state, since that protection error probably wasn't supposed to happen. But yeah, this is finally something I can do with the Toshiba 4000 CDS. It's got the maximum memory expansion, so it's the max RAM it can support. It's got a 4GB, I think it's 4GB HDD. Last time I checked, it had no bad sectors. It was literally it was perfect working condition, no bad sectors, nothing. That old hard drive was just fantastic. I'm going to take things slow. I don't want to overwhelm the poor thing, so I think that's what I did. I think I logged in too quick or something, and it just overwhelmed Windows 98. With Windows 98, you've got to be very, very careful with what you do with the system, and then it just shuts down. So that's the 4000 CDS, finally in functional condition. That has made me feel slightly better about myself. Oh, bugger you, focus. Yeah. I personally, I love this Toshiba. This thing is, I almost threw it away because the password was just so annoying. I almost thought, bugger it, I'll just buy a new one, but no. I stuck around, I waited patiently, and as you always said, if you wait long enough, good things will come to you, and it did. This little Toshiba, perfect working order, fully upgraded, as I just mentioned, with the max it can support. Memory-wise, got a nice, pretty decent Pentium 2 processor. I think this is a nice little decent retro machine. Don't know what I'll do with it yet. Any suggestions, stick it in the comments. I need jobs for most of these computers, because otherwise it's now considered as a hoarding problem. I mean, sure, if you have 4 or 5 computers, not really a problem, but when you have like almost 70, yeah, I think you can legally be classed as a hoarder in that case. So let's move on to the next stack in another part. Unfortunately, the HP DV6 is irreparable, so I've decided to gut what's left of it, and I'll throw away the carcass someday. But moving on to more positive matters, this is the Dell Inspiron 1545. This is a fairly recent computer in the collection. I like this specific model quite a bit. The 1545 is one of the more common models around. This is a less desirable models, as this doesn't have dedicated graphics or anything fancy like that. It is literally just the machine itself. I think this is base model. It's got a Core 2 Duo processor in it. I believe this thing also has 2 gigabytes of RAM. Or did I steal the RAM out of it and stuck it back in the Dell? Because I remember there was another Dell I have that I took the memory out of to put in here, and stick back in here. And this one, for some unknown reason, is misbehaving. I wonder why. That's unusual. Let's try turning it off and back on again. That usually helps. That's not supposed to happen. Why is it doing that all of a sudden? Story of my life. Things always go wrong. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna change some memory around and see what I can do. Okay, I installed the RAM I stole from the DV6. I don't know if that'll improve its condition, which it seems to have not improved its condition. Why? Come on, you had to behave when you were on camera, and you're misbehaving. Why is it doing that? I know, I'll try and plug in the charger, see if that helps. It does have a vendetta against the power supply I use. Let's try going to the setup utility. Nope. No change. Okay, well, unfortunately I don't know what the hell's going on with this machine, so I'll be doing some diagnosis and I'll come back if I've come to a conclusion. Okay, just waiting a few minutes. It's actually started to do something now. I've got bad news. Looking on Dell's forum, it does say that my AC adapter, a small wire for the pin that is for the sense cable, has snapped. Not the pin, but the wire itself has come loose. I don't know if this is inside the cable or inside the brick itself, but I heard that they were engineered to fail, so yeah, there is apparently no trustworthy computer manufacturer on planet Earth. Not even Lenovo is trustworthy anymore. Anyway, yes, this thing does run Windows Vista. I don't give a crap what anyone says. This was initially an experiment, just to see, hey, what can I do with Windows Vista? And turns out I can do quite a bit with Windows Vista. I actually fully patched this with updates. I've got the weather gadget working. This is actually a fairly decent little machine. And I like it, I really do. I think this Dell is brilliant. It's a brilliant little machine. And yeah, in all honesty, I could probably do a bit more with it, which is epic. So about this machine, let's get some information on it. Here it is. It's Vista Service Pack 2, Home Premium. We've got a Core 2 Duo T6400 at 2 GHz, 4 gigs of RAM. And yes, I did call it Vista Trash because funny. I mean, it's a fun little machine to play around with. It's got Opera 36 installed. The one problem that I don't like with Vista is the fact it sets sleep as the power button icon. I really just want it to shut down. So, I don't know how I change that. If anyone knows how to change that in Vista, stick it in the comments down below. Yeah, this screen looks a bit fuzzy when you look at it, but yeah, that is the Inspiron 1545, a fairly new addition to the collection. So I'll move on to another machine from the middle pile. This is a Lenovo 3000 N200. It's got the fingerprint scanner, which unfortunately doesn't work. It is another one of those budget non-ThinkPad models, and I like it. This one's a lot more better built than the N500, but it unfortunately at the same time it's older. So it does have that. This used to be Staff B55 at an institution of some sort. And I like it. It's running XP oh no, I think I installed I used the tiny XP installation media on here because it's the only one I think that supports AHCI. Oh yes, this also has the crustiest speakers known to man. Those speakers are quite frankly abysmal. Go away, fingerprint software. Don't work anyways. Properties, the same old. It is literally just one of those Experian builds. Pentium dual core T2330. 1 gig of RAM, which I might change later, depending on my mood. Yeah. In reality, there is not really much else to talk about with this Lenovo. It's not got any, like, OEM software on here at all. It's just dreadful. Yeah. It has Opera 36, driver booster. All of the stuff I usually stick on experience builds. But yeah, there's not much else to chat about with the this one. Hardware-wise, we've got we've got the audio ports, 3 USBs, card bus. I think this has the ability to read smart card as well. No, I think that's PCMCIA. No, it's card bus. Also, this doesn't click shut fully. I think that's SD down there, and 1394 Firewire. So it's a fairly basic computer. And it even comes with a little Lenovo badge on there. So let's move on to the next machine down. This is a Toshiba Satellite A300. This is the one I initially was going to keep and dispose of the other A300. I think I may still... Oh, I know. BIOS battery's flat. And because this runs XP, it has to be set to compatibility, and it always defaults to AHCI. So we've got to change that. Save those. Just give it a bit, and it'll start loading Windows. There is a couple of things to talk about on here. I mean, it's got Dolby Audio, Dolby Sound Room. Whatever that means. With a slight bit of audio issues, because everyone likes that. Yeah, got card bus, doesn't have MSATA unlike the other one, it just has a generic USB. It's got thingy, S-Video, BGA, Ethernet, all that. And then on this side, it's got literally the same as the other A300. The only reason I decided to keep this A300 over the other one was because of a little feature I discovered while taking the thing apart for a repaste. As soon as Explorer loads in, I'll demonstrate what that actually is. Any minute now. Come on, the hard drive's not even under any sort of pressure. It literally is not doing anything. Why does it need to bother? Oh, okay, right. Jump cut. Okay, so it's finally booted into the Explorer. It only took about 2 minutes. Now, the one thing I like to demonstrate with this, despite its finicky trackpad, which I really don't like, is... No, that was control panel. I don't want that. I want something that isn't control panel. Yeah, this is the sign that the palm rest is really... I mean, the trackpad is really worn out. I think I might have a better experience if I plug a mouse in. If I just plug a mouse in. There we go. Hey, oh, it's still not working. Oh, there we go. Yay. So, if I go into my computer, here we go. You can see it's licensed to focus. Chrysler Autos. Why did I choose that? That was weird. Anyway, it's got a Pentium dual-core T2370, 1.73 GHz. It's got 1 gig of RAM, like everything in this house. Yeah, it's Service Pack 3, Windows XP Professional, just all that jazz. Cool. Whatever. The cool feature I wish to mention is it has 2 hard drives. Both of which are 500 gigabytes. So this is the 1 terabyte Windows XP machine. So I've decided to keep this one over the other purely for that reason. Aside from that, there isn't much else to talk about with this machine, aside from the fact that it's a bit more worn out than the other one. So, yeah. We can move on to something that isn't a PC for once. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. This is a 2012, I think, or is it 2011? MacBook Pro, 13-inch. This one boots fairly quickly because I fitted a 60GB SSD that I pulled out of another machine. Yes, I know 60GB is tiny, but hey, space is a premium. I like this machine. It's quite nice. I think it runs macOS Lion at the moment. Yeah. Just boots a bunch of crap up when you start it up, which is helpful. About this Mac is it's running macOS X 10.7.5 Core i3. Yes, it is. It's macOS Lion. Oh, it's in early 2011. Well, the more you know. Memory, 4 gigs. Storage, 60 gigs. And the Intel HD 3000. I like the wallpaper that Lion has. This computer I think I only use for playing Lego Batman on. Purely because I realised that Lego games had Mac ports, so I was very happy to find that out. Aside from that, it is literally just a generic Mac. So with that, we are swiftly moving on. This is one of the older additions to the collection. I've had this one probably the longest. The Samsung X30, which I was given, I'd say, I want to say the latter part of 2000. Future Luke here, and well, the video decided to cut out during the middle stack, so we'll be doing that again. So this computer runs, this is the Samsung X30, it runs Fedora 16, it used to be Laptop 162 in some sort of institution. I love this little animation down the bottom. I don't know if I've already talked this over, but here are the specs. It's got an NVIDIA GeForce Go 5200 64MB, so not the best GPU in the world, but it's got GPU. Bridge battery for battery exchange, so it does that. don't know where that bridge battery is. Fingerprint scanning, or in this case just a scroll wheel. 15.4 inch XGA or wide SXGA display, not sure which version I've got. Intel Centrino Pentium M processor, clocked at, I have no idea the gigahertz, but that's the model if you wish to do research yourself. It's got a wise view TFT LCD. Here you've got all the useless internet buttons that most 2000s laptops have. That's the cooling vent, does a fairly decent job at cooling the CPU and GPU. There's our keyboard, which is fairly nice to type on at high speeds, and yeah, down the side here we've got the cooling vent for the exhaust fan, the dial-up modem, the LAN jack, the VGA port, USB, and that is a PCMCIA slot. And here we have 1394 Firewire. Here are the stereo speakers on the front, and because this is a Samsung laptop, they're very bad. It also has a memory stick duo slot, so that's kind of helpful for reading memory sticks. I think this is one of the only 2 computers I own which have a memory stick duo slot. I think it's that and another Samsung. I don't know if it's the R730 or the NC10 that's in the cupboard, but it's one of them. So if I just quickly sign in. It's also got just the average function buttons. It's got a function key for the SPDIF output, which I didn't even think this had SPDIF, but I think that's probably what that is on the back, because down there you can see the video jack and the power jack and this video jack, and then the jack in between, not the video jack, the power jack is what I meant. Yeah, so there's power jack, another jack, and then the S-video. I don't know what the middle jack is, it's very strange. Here's the desktop. I've themed it, because why not? It's best to have an interesting desktop. This one's connected to the RetroNet, which is my wireless network. Oh no, it's not actually, it's connected to my actual home network. Ew, because usually it drops out. Maybe I reseated the antenna cables under this hinge cover, or I plugged the card out and back in. The battery in this likes to overheat and get very hot, so it's on its last legs, regrettably. It's not an official Samsung battery, so I couldn't really care less, I'll just buy a new one. Or if that's not possible, I'll get this battery resold with new 18650s. I don't really... Oh, hang on, system tools. System monitor. Yeah, system monitor might be able to show us some information. These buttons actually do function under Linux. The email button will open up the email client, the I button will open up Firefox, and the tick button, I don't know what this does yet. And I don't know what that button is with the light on it. It looks like Wi-Fi, but scrollable Wi-Fi with the up and down arrows. Or is that probably allows the scroll wheel to turn on and off? No, it's the wireless communications button. Just turn the wireless off. There's the processors. Ah, here we go. Here's laptop 162, Intel 1.60 GHz Intel Pentium M processor and a 150 gigabyte hard drive? Or 160? I think it could be 160, not too sure. I don't think 150 drives exist. But yeah, so that was the button for the wireless that I've discovered. The scroll wheel, I don't know if it works or not. Is there anything I can find which can scroll? No. Maybe it just doesn't work then. Never mind. It's not very important anyways. We just shut it down. We're going to move on to the next computer in the stack, which is the... I want to say it's the HP NX6110, but I think it's the Acer. I'll go with the Acer since it's on top of the stack. Makes it easy to get to. So that is the Samsung X30. This one takes quite a while to shut down. So whilst it's doing that, I will point out something I found on the top where it says Digital Freedom. I really don't think the digital world is freedom anymore. It's funny, these old 2000s quotes when people said, oh, gain freedom from your real life with this computer, go into your own world. And nowadays everyone's stuck in their own world and they can't get a sense of reality anymore. It has a DVD-ROM drive on the side as well. CD writer. Has a very nice overcomplicated lens. Samsung make really decent DVD players, so I wouldn't think they would scrimp out on any of the sort. We've got 2 USB ports down that side, and our audio jacks, which are there. I want to wait for it to shut down first, but I don't want to risk... Oh, never mind. Close the lid. Flip it over. So this is the bottom of the computer. Have the XP product key. I'm not ever going to use it ever again. So that's our model. That's the input voltage, which is 19 volts, although I prefer to run on 18 volts because the battery likes to overheat. It was a factory refurbished machine, interesting enough to point out. That's all the regulatory labels for the wireless adapter and whatnot. Hard drive is under this cover. RAM, which is unfortunately taken down to 128 megabytes because I had to take the RAM out of here. Oh, the system has just shut down. Oh, you just missed the fan stopping. And the Intel wireless adapter is under this cover. So that is the Samsung X30, and we'll be moving on to the Acer TravelMate 290. This is the Acer TravelMate 290. It is I'd say, I want to say early-ish 2000s, 2004, 2003 laptop. There's the boot screen, looks pretty vintage. This is dual booted with both Ubuntu and Windows XP, so I'll demonstrate both of those operating systems. The computer, it's got a slightly worn out trackpad, sadly, because this looks really nice, but it's actually worn out. You just can't see it. We've got the 2 mouse buttons in the silver bezel design with the... I don't know why this line is here, but it exists. On the side we've got the exhaust vent, the power jack, that's the hard drive right there, and one of the speakers. The speakers on here sound meh. It's an Acer computer, so it's not the best audio. That's the wireless switch. The audio jacks, PCMCIA, infrared back here, and USB 1. The rest of the ports are on the back, I'll demonstrate this later. There's our lid switch. We got 2 programmable buttons, P1 and P2. Here's are all our lights. And there's that. Logging in real quick. We can have a quick look at the front. There's our CD-ROM drive. We'll get to the bottom later. Here's Ubuntu. I'm not really going to display the system specifications within here because they'll be the same in Windows, so we'll look at them in Windows. This does not have wireless drivers, regrettably. I will probably look for the wireless drivers some other day for the internet, but for now it's pretty good. It's got TeamViewer on here, which I need to uninstall. It doesn't work anyways, and TeamViewer sucks, and I do not wish to advocate for anything related to TeamViewer, so I will be purging that off of every computer I can lay my hands on. And it also has that weird little fade effect with Windows XP when you click the shutdown menu. And there's Windows shutting down. It even displays every single thing it's shutting down in the background on this menu. It's very, very nice. It means I can look at what processes fail or anything when booting up, so I can determine if it's a driver issue or the hard drive is failing or anything of the sort. So that's actually pretty nice. Here's the top. It used to be IT spare laptop 5. Hang on. CC5 spare laptop, yeah. So that used to be the spare laptop in the institution I got this from. There we go. Spare 5 from Computer Center. Here's the Acer support number. It probably doesn't work anymore. Quality seal okay. Don't think it's very okay. My video is getting a bit laggy. Here is the That's the cooling fan. And there is our information. There's the Windows XP product key, which actually I didn't use, so feel free to take that. There's the memory cover where the 128 megs is stored. That's the battery. Even holds a decent charge, unlike the 4050, which has a knackered battery. And on the back, we've got Firewire 1394, S-Video, Ethernet, dial-up modem, 2 USBs, VGA, parallel, and Kensington lock. So let's flip it back round, boot it back up, and load Windows XP. This computer has a very loud, whiny fan, but it rarely comes on, so I don't have to hear it very often. I'm not usually the one to complain about loud fans, but that one is actually slightly irritating. I'll probably think of replacing it with a quieter fan, but what's the real point? No one sells new fans for these, and it's not really going to bother me. I mean, I can tolerate loud noises if they're not sudden and excruciatingly painful. So that's Windows. Just sign in. Oops. So that's this is Windows XP. So it's tiny XP. So I can get the system specifications up real quick. It'll take a while actually, because Windows is ever so slightly slower. You can see I'm putting the poor hard drive under so much strain. Here we go. So we've got a Pentium 1500 MHz Pentium processor, 240 megs of RAM. That doesn't make any sense. I thought this was 128 it had in it. Maybe it has 256. Okay, in that correction, the Samsung laptop in the previous clip had 256 megabytes in it as well. Yeah, there's our version, which is Windows XP Professional Service Pack 3. Yeah, it is E-Experience. I was going to say, this doesn't feel like an E-Experience build. Maybe I just have a newer version. Because I remembered I installed this from a a CD, and I installed the Lenovo's one from a USB. It's got like not the first version of Google Chrome, but a really early version of Chrome, VNC server, and a really older version of Opera. It is a bit slow. Down the bottom, it's got all of the gubbins that boots in. Modem, extreme graphics, ClamWin, tight VNC, sound effect, safely remove hardware, all that jazz. It even has Opera 36 that I've installed myself. Yeah, this computer is not really much to talk about. It's just a generic 2000s crap top. It's, I think it's slightly broken in this corner when I took it apart to repaste the CPU. But I like this one. I think it's really nice. It was either this one or a Windows Vista Toshiba, so it's quite obvious which one I wanted to take out of both of them. Yeah, so I saved this one. In order to save space, I didn't take its original power cable. I took the charger brick, but I didn't take the cable with it in order to save space, so there's that. Shut the computer down. It's also got image burn and CE Rage editor, which is something I haven't used because the Windows station is shutting down. Yeah, ClamWin antivirus is a bit slow, but what can I do? This has the classic login and shutdown screen. Rather than the full screen one, it's instead confined to a tiny window. Most institutional like imaged windows. Like you'd connect the computer to the internet, and it would download and re-image the computer. One of those kind of institutional, professional stuff. It would use that to connect to the domain. So yep, we're done with the Acer. The next computer in question is a very slow HP, so that one will take a while. This is an HP Compaq NX6110 business grade netbook computer. This is one of the really nice vintage style of HP business computers. The HP business line was a lot nicer, and it still is very nice. The consumer grade stuff, the quality started dropping, as we've noticed in the DV6, I'd say by the late 2000s. And into the 2010s it just got worse and worse and worse. And this pretty much has stood the test of time. Hinges are rock solid. Everything. The keyboard, there's no wear on the keyboard. There is a little bit of wear on the touchpad, but it's barely noticeable. And of course we have the HP Ergo warning message. Wouldn't be a business computer without it. Here we've got two USBs, VGA, our exhaust vent, our dial-up modem, which has a bit of crust in it, Ethernet 3094, and two PCM CIA card bus slots. Yes, that's right, gentlemen and ladies. Not one, but two. There's our audio jacks and our DVD-ROM and CD writer drive. So this one takes quite a long while to boot up because it's running off of a 10GB IBM TravelStar from 1999. That's very slow, very bad, and it's really, really due for an upgrade. This drive actually came out of the, I think it was either came out of the Dell or the CSX or the C600. I'm not sure which one I ended up yanking it out of, but this will go back into the CSX when I'm done with it, and I'll buy a new, much quicker 80 gig drive for it. So we're just going to sign in to our user account. So if caps lock would decide to work, because every password needs to have a capital letter in it. And that's the whole reason why I'm pointing the camera away, because the last thing I want to do is accidentally expose my password. This has stereo sound under the computer for some unknown reason, but does not cap the audio performance. For a business grade computer, this is very, very decent in terms of audio. I'd say it's about nearly on par with the DV4000 speakers, although I haven't been able to test them fully due to the lack of an operating system. But with live Linux installations, they're pretty decent. I think the DV4000 can go up to about, I want to say 2 gigabytes in size. Same with the Samsung X30. I think this can go up to 2 gigabytes of storage, RAM as well. I think also the Acer can do it as well. I'll have to upgrade some of these machines someday. Of course, some computers, in order to upgrade them to 8 gigabytes, 4 gigabyte DDR2 SODIMMs are quite rare, so might not be able to do those for the... I mean, this one's already been upgraded to the maximum memory, which I believe is 128 megabytes. There's 64 on board, and then I added some sort of expansion, and I'm not really sure. I think I've already discussed what the memory capacity in this is. This, well, I don't think it can go any higher than 1 gig, so it's already on 1 gig. And then, well, good luck trying to upgrade this thing. This takes absolutely forever to boot up. I honestly, I think I'm better off just like pausing the video whilst I wait for it to boot up, but just as I say that, all the icons load in. I'm running out of things to talk about with this computer. I suppose we can look at the back of the computer, which is literally nothing interesting. It is just the power jack and the HP logo. I'll look at the bottom of the computer as well, actually. I don't think I've done that yet. Just tip it on its side. That's the bottom. There's our cooling fan, which is quite nice. Not too loud. There's another exhaust vent. There's our information. There's a Windows XP product key. Take it. There's HP accessories, which I really want to get some accessories for this machine because I love it. Extra battery port, because you know, got to get the HP extra battery. There's the RAM. I think this computer does have an issue with one of its RAM slots, where it will sometimes display odd graphical issues on screen. It's usually solved by reseating the RAM. I think it's suffering the same problem as the IBM T42 over there. Yeah, so rather gratefully I have a shortcut to system on the desktop. I don't have to wipe this computer. I have a method of backing all my data over from this 10GB drive to the 40GB drive when I inevitably get one. And I'll just basically expand the partition to fit the whole of the drive, and then I'll just erase this one. So there it is. We've got Windows XP Home Edition version 2002, Service Pack 3, registered to me. Computer, Intel Pentium M processor at 1.73 GHz, 504 megabytes of RAM, so we're running at 512, however I believe we can go up to 1 or 2 gigs. So there's that. Now, I'm not really going to bother filming the shutdown sequence for this, because literally all it is just the Windows shutdown sound, and then it blue screens at the end. And I think you've probably seen that like 9,000 times already, so I'm not going to stick you through that. So this is the HP Compact NX6110, and we'll be moving on to the final computer in the stack, at least for this part, and then I can move on to past Luke's rest of his collection, which is the Novatek 8599, which is one of my favourite computers, because look at the freaking chunk of this thing. I love it. Anyway, so moving on.
6 hours later.
This is the almighty Novatek 8599. It is freaking heavy. There's the beautiful Novatek crest, with I think just a tiny little bit of paint chipping, not much to worry about. Here is on the bottom. This thing takes desktop DIMMs, which basically span this entire width of the computer. Battery sits here, hard drive goes here, and then the fan sits there. There's the XP product key if you have a Novatek machine. Here at the bottom it says MSL, which I believe is MyTac Systems Limited, because this is a MyTac board, according to CPU-Z. It's the 8599 model, and it takes 6.32 amps of power, because it is a DGPU machine with a SIS graphics chip, which I thought I'd killed at one point, but we seem to be okay with that. And there's our wireless adapter gubbins that probably would have existed there, but there is no wireless adapter in there. I might stick one in there one day. So we're going to prep it. Oh yeah, I didn't have a look at the back. So there's our AC adapter jack. Those are our hinge screws, which are fairly beefy, but slightly rusty. That is a VGA port, although it oddly enough uses the same colour plastic as serial ports. I don't know what that's all about. There's our yellow S-video. That's the exhaust for the GPU fan. 4 USB ports, people. 4, although I believe 2 of them might be dead. But yeah, no matter. On the side, oh god, on the side we have one PCMCIA, a DVD-ROM burner thing, audio jacks, 2 more USBs, Ethernet, and of course modem. Those are indicator lights for power, battery, and charge. Just want to not damage the power jack doing that. On the front here are some notification lights for wireless hard drive, disk drive, and our function keys. It's got a very, very, very thick display hinge mechanism, which I've lubed up a bit. Not as sticky as it once was. We're going to plug in our AC adapter. Fingers crossed it doesn't go bang, which it hasn't. Wait for this light to come on. There we go. Battery's knackered in here, so it won't charge. There's our touchpad with scroll buttons. And our keyboard, which is worn down, feels crap. 2 tinny speakers and the absolute massive exhaust vent for its Pentium D CPU. Well, no, I think it's a Celeron D. This thing is loud. I think it's louder than any computer any other computer I own. Apart from that machine when it's running at full load. Yeah, you don't want to cross AMD machines when they're angry and overheating. So this runs Windows XP Home Edition Service Pack 1. So this is the original version of Windows XP Home Edition. And in fact it's so old it still has the green little scroll bar and it says Home Edition, other than just Windows XP. Like the modern versions do. I think Professional, which is on that Dell, which you can't possibly see because it's buried. There's a Dell down there, which has Professional on it, Dell Desktop. I like to handle this one nice and carefully because it is a Pentium 4 laptop, so I do look after my notoriously overheating machines by trying not to run them for long periods of time. Despite the speakers being very tinny, they actually sound nice. It's got McAfee Security Center. I would uninstall it, but there's not really any point. It's not going to interfere with anything, and on top of that, it's kind of nice to have an archived piece of software. As for the Toshiba, which has like Norton 1.0, oh man, Norton 1.0 and Norton LifeLock 2022 built-in crypto mining. Oh, would you believe it? What an absolute joke. So yeah, this used to belong to, well, a person, a man. Which is funny because this Toshiba used to belong to a woman. There we go. That's a notification I don't think you see every day. So 2006 was when Windows XP Service Pack 1 lost support. Now, if we just go to here, I bet you can't even hear me over the sound of that freaking cooling fan. Oh my, that's actually hot. Properties. The GPU fan I don't think gets enough cooling. And this is what I love. This is the OEM XP installation from Novatek. So, Novatek, the company that made this, or rebadged it at least, because it's a British company. This wallpaper isn't real, I made it myself, but I think they'd appreciate it if I'd made it years ago for them. Yeah, Novatek direct limit. I can go to the support information. There we go, there's our technical support, which probably does not exist anymore. I might want to back up the about.ini file from the system just in case it does fail. Or no, it's only an 80GB hard drive, so theoretically I could probably image the entire hard drive. So if something does horrifically go wrong, I can just reflash the image to a drive and it should just boot up fine. Fingers crossed. But anyway, enough talking about doom and gloom. But yeah, that's the support information. I'm going to go into about the CPU real quick, because we have CPU-Z for the Windows 9X. Yeah, this thing is really, really loud. It's got a full-on, like, ATX style desktop PC CPU fan. It's huge. I want to try and not suffocate as many vents as possible, because the main cooling vent's there, and then the vent for the GPU is like under my leg, which I haven't blocked, thankfully enough. Yeah, I think this position's good for it. I really don't know how hot this thing's running, but I do hope it doesn't run too hot, because the last thing I want to do is kill the poor thing. And I love this computer. I love this thing. It's brilliant. It's based off of the Jericom Hummer, which is an AMD based computer, and they drop like flies because of their AMD GPUs. This one has an SIS chipset, so this one should not be as unreliable. But, you know, you can't be too certain. It might be unreliable, but I have repasted the CPU and I have made sure everything's clean. So, it does say Celeron D inside. Prescott, socket 478 MPGA, 2.80 gigahertz, not bad, clocked at, I think, no, yeah, 2.80 gigahertz, cache, there's that, mainboard, there you go, it's made by MTC, or MyTac apparently, according to Thing. Memory, meh, DPD, graphics, that's by, I don't even say what graphics it is, but it's SIS. I would benchmark it, but there's no point, and there we are. Other versions? I didn't know there was an Android version. Oh no, it's opening up Opera. Of course, you silly thing, you can't connect to Opera. Another thing this is good for is playing Open Arena. It does a very good job at running Open Arena. I mean, I don't think it's a very demanding game, and it runs on 1 gigabyte of RAM. Pretty nice. Security Center updates. No, thank you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. This has a bunch of other stuff like Adaware, SE. I think it's got something spyware, search and destroy as well. WinDVD, MSN exploit. This is a time capsule, and of course, Michael MDJ's favourite, Google Desktop. It's excellent. I don't think it loads anymore though, and this is like Google F1.0. Anyway, we're going to shut the computer down. This power supply I'm using I don't think has enough amperage, but it does still somehow manage to power it. If I use any other adapter, the computer will crash during startup, and yeah, the hard drive makes funny noises, so unplug that. It gets this tip very, very hot. It's actually burning my fingers as I unplug it, but yeah, I'm gonna try and not melt the port. But that is the Novatek 8599 computer. And that also signals the end of Future Luke here. Now I'll go back to past Luke to display the rest of the computer collection. This sad thing is the Dell Latitude E6400. It's one of my... well, this computer was actually my daily driver for a while, since the ThinkPad broke. And unfortunately, it's just wearing down. I mean, the paint's flaking off, the bezel's cracked, screen's defective. Now the charger seems to have developed a fault, and the RTC battery and the main battery's knackered, so this thing is just slowly dying. I may do a full restoration job on this someday, maybe. There's not really much to talk about with this machine. It's all I do know that it has a Core 2 Duo in it, and I did have to replace the RAM, so it's now 4 gigabytes again, which is nice because it means I have 4 gigs in both the little Dell, the Inspiron, and this one, which is kind of helpful. I do think that this is a good investment and a good candidate for restoration, considering like it's pretty good. It's a business grade machine. It's like a ThinkPad but Dell. I mean, it's got the track point nub. It's got everything you need. Got the extra buttons. It's perfect. This thing runs Windows 7 Professional, as you've probably made it out. The bad BIOS battery does affect certain programs from functioning correctly. Yeah, you can see I've used this thing quite a bit. I personally think that this machine was engineered pretty well, although time just hasn't been friendly to it. It's just the hinges, they all seem to go loose, these cartridge style hinges, as with the Inspiron 6400. They use the same sort of cartridge hinges, which usually, well, that one's seized up. I had to ease it out with some tools. And another thing is this one's track point is a bit drifty, so the mouse pointer will drift around quite a lot through no fault of its own. It's just dirty. So there's the information. It's got a Core 2 Duo P8400, 2.26 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, pen input available somehow. It's the Dell recovery disk I used, and I believe it actually associated itself correctly. Yeah. That's the Dell. It has many background programs running. Well, maybe not. Maybe not today. That's kind of helpful. Yeah, final words about this machine. I mean, it's okay. It's got some smart card gubbins and malarkey going on. I think it's a pretty decent machine, and I'd like to restore it someday. Yeah, this sad thing is what's left of a Acer TravelMate 4050. This is the same one that went bang ages ago, and it's, from the surface it looks like just a regular old boring XP machine. Not much else to comment on. The chip in question that exploded was this one right here, and I believe that may be due to some bits have been gouged off on the board. I'm torn whether to buy a new motherboard or to try and repair this existing board, minus the battery capabilities. I think the battery that came with it is knackered anyways. Not too sure. The bottom has to be replaced since there's only 2 chunks of it. It's pretty rich in terms of I/O. And the cooling system is adequate. And it's got a DVD drive. Yeah, DVD-ROM. All that happens when you plug this in is that chip. Depending, I don't know, that chip will usually spark up or give off smoke sometimes, or just all the lights flash and it trips over current protection on the charger. So this is going to be a restoration job for sure, and yeah, that one will be something new to look into someday. Moving on. This is the Asus EPC 701. It's ooh. Pardon me. It's a it's one of the earlier models of the revision. You can see it's a 701. This is one of the first EPC models released, and I think it has a proprietary operating system. I think it's Exandros Linux. Just wait for that to boot up. Here we go. So here it is. It's kind of just a PDA-like interface. You've got pre-installed programs that you can do things with. I like it. I think this is a nice machine to have in the collection. And yeah, not really much else to comment about this thing other than the fact it has stereo sound, a very bad webcam. It's rather compact. The battery does actually hold a charge, It doesn't have a modem, but it does, and it actually works through wireless now. Works with the little Wi-Fi network I have set up. So it's a cool feature, a cool little gadget to have, and this one I think I'll keep in the collection for a good long while. And I don't think I'll ever truly get rid of it. So that's the EPC 701. Moving on. This is the Samsung NC10 Plus netbook. This one was in the broken pile for some unknown reason, and turns out it just had a loose display cable. So I reseated that and everything seems to be fine now. Yeah, it's got an Intel Atom something running at some sort of... we'll look at that more in depth later. I do know that it has at least a gig of RAM and Windows 7 Starter Edition. I might consider upgrading the RAM in this just to see if I can make it a little bit quicker, because it is very slow. The only reason I have kept Windows on here is because it's the OEM installation. Now for some weird reason the screen's gone dark. Oh no, it's come back. Yeah, I have good news regarding the DV6 as well. I may do a motherboard transplant and disable the dedicated GPU on an Intel board. Fingers crossed that works, maybe, but I like the DV6 too much to get rid of it. So I think it's there to stay for now. I can't use it, of course, but it is there to stay. This machine does have a few interesting quirks. It's got an SD card reader down the bottom with a little plastic cap that you can just pull out. On the bottom, you just got your average crap. And the fan, Ethernet, USB. And the other side you got VGA and more USB. There it is. It comes with all the Samsung bloatware from the factory, which is interesting to look at. It's got stuff like Cybercam, Cyberlink, SkyDrive, LibreOffice, the user guide, recovery software, Samsung movies. It's funny. Yeah, this thing is quite slow, but there it is. For some unknown reason, that's not available. So we don't know how much RAM is in there or anything like that. It's kind of annoying. Yeah. Okay, so we don't know what Intel CPU it's going at, but it's an Atom of some kind, so we know at least that. We don't need this anymore, so we can just shut that down. I don't really like not saying anything, but I haven't got anything to talk about. It does have a digital live cam, which is just a buzzword for a webcam. And not even a good webcam. It's just a pretty crap average 2000s webcam. The keyboard has this strange sort of raised, like rounded texture on all the keys. Makes it feel nice to type on. I think this is a 8-inch netbook. It's quite small. I've got a couple netbooks slightly bigger than this, but yes. Down here has the usual bunch of lies. Samsung fast booting, that's a big lie. Lightweight, well, it is kind of light. True surround, yeah, the sound isn't very good. And these two are, of course, lies. Is the warranty's expired, and this is definitely not energy saving anymore. That's the website that probably doesn't exist anymore. Model. And it is DLNA certified, so that means it can access Plex. I don't know if that makes it any more special, but that's the Samsung. And we're going to move on to the next machine. This is the Acer Aspire One. Well, it was the model I found was the A3, but I think it has a different model. I think it's A107H something. I'm not actually sure, unfortunately. Maybe I'll stick it in the description later if I figure it out. Yeah, it's just an Acer Aspire One. Not much to really discuss about. For some reason, it doesn't want to boot. Oh, I think it's because I put that extra RAM in. Might not be agreeing with it. Okay, one sec, I'll be back with the old RAM. Now, with the old RAM installed, let's see if it behaves any better. There we go. I did replace the hard drive to make it better. God, this screen is filthy. I should probably wash that. Yeah, I'll do that later. Yeah, it's a pretty generic Acer netbook. I mean, it's got Windows XP on it, so it has that going for it. Down here is its specs. 8 hours of battery life, that's a lie. It's LCD, fine tip keyboard, Dolby headphones, WAN ready, and Signal up, which is Acer's way of saying, hey, we've got Wi-Fi on here. Just do this real quick. There you go. This one is much quicker than it used to be. I think the new hard drive is doing it slightly better than the 160 gig that was in here. And disabling all of the startup programs, I think, has made it quicker. Yeah, this is, I think, the OEM Windows installation, hence why I didn't want to lose it. Yeah, I think if I do end up replacing the motherboard and the DV6, that's bad news, because I'm gonna end up losing the OEM status. Because, of course, Windows 7 doesn't like you switching architecture. Unlike Windows 8, like, you can stick Windows 8 or Windows 10 in a different machine and it'll just adjust. But this, no, Windows 7 does not like you doing that. Specs of the system, we can just pull those up. In good time. There we go. There we go. There's an Intel Atom Z520, 1.33 GHz, 1 gig of RAM. There we go. It's got Windows XP Home Edition Service Pack 3, the OEM installation, which makes things better. There's that. The wireless connection is not working properly. No, it is working properly. That's funny. So yeah, that's the Aspire One. I'm not really sure which one what the model actually is. It's some kind of model. But we'll find out which model it is later. So, letting that power down, we can move on to something else. This is the Asus X54C notebook. This also has Altec lancing speakers. This was the third runner-up out of all three of my media notebooks. The DV6 being the best. Well, was the best up until it died. This one runs Windows 7 Home Premium, the Asus OEM installation, I think. It has 8 gigs of RAM and a 320 gig hard drive, I think. Intel Core i3 of some sort. At least I think it's a Core i3, I'm not too sure. It's quite old. Might be an M380. Now the password on here is a bit finicky. Usually it doesn't like me typing it in properly. There we go. Seemed to like me first time for a change. Yeah, this one has all of the cool, interesting crap such as the Asus Vibe Fun Center and Amazon. I never asked for that to be installed. That must have come with AVG. It has Melodyne for whatever reason. Audacity. I think it usually did some sound editing on here at one point. I was going to use this to play games, but the graphics is non-existent. I mean, the graphics card in this, I think, is much more reliable than any other graphics chip. It's just the Northbridge that lets it down. So, I'm not sure about the DV6 anymore. I don't want to throw it away, but I don't want to keep it. Because it's just going to be a pain in the butt. So that's why I thought the motherboard transplant is the best option. I can have it so it has a working Northbridge, but the dedicated graphics won't work, but it doesn't need that because I only want it for its music capabilities anyway. I'm not going to be playing games or anything that's high powered on it anyways. This one does take quite a bit because it has to load a bit of bloatware, but it's fine. I like that. It has a DVD-ROM drive and a USB port on the side, as well as chewed up Kensington lock. On the front it's got SD card and your audio jacks, and on the side it's got USB, HDMI, VGA, Ethernet and your power. Yeah, I think this one used to overheat quite a bit as well, because I was running folding at home on it, as I did with this, which was a bad idea. But I think what I did with this, I managed to save it in time before it cooked itself as well. This has a soldered CPU anyways, so that would have been game over for the entire motherboard if I'd blown that up. I personally can't wait to do some more with the media computers. As soon as I get the DV6 up and running again, I'll probably do a comparison between all three, the Asus, the Dell and the HP. I am quite angry that my the center pin in my Dell charger has snapped off. Well, the pin's still there, but the wire has broken inside, and that's really annoying, because that means that adapter will not work that adapter will not charge the battery ever again. It'll work, it'll power things on, but it won't actually charge the battery, which is defeating the entire purpose of a charger. Oh, we don't want any of that. We don't want any browsers running on boot. Let's have a look at the properties of this machine. Yeah, the audio is it's on the meh side, but it's not tinny. It's not as tinny as some of the machines I have. There we go. There's your information. Apparently has 6 gigs of RAM, I was wrong. That doesn't make any sense because I swear there was a stick of 8 in here. Oh well. What can I do? Anyway, that's that. So I'm just going to quickly do something here and I'll get back to shut it down. And now we can shut the system down, and this marks the end of part 3. In part 4 we'll be discussing the damaged, the crippled and the broken machines in the collection, which are hoping to be repaired very soon. So with that one, this has been the Asus X54C. In all of its glory, and looking forward to doing a lot more with this machine in the future. Moving on to the crippled and the more or less machines that have faults with them. This is a new addition to the collection. This is a Toshiba Protege 3410 CT, and if I can find the power cable to it, I can give it a quick boot up. It's one of those weird Toshibas that takes this odd proprietary connector for the plug, which can't possibly zoom in on, but it's a little 2-pin plug. Plug that in. I'll put the light bulbs in for the computer. So if I can find the switch on the side, make sure it's unlocked first. And give it a little boot up. Didn't press the button hard enough. But there it is. It's the same as the 4000 CDS except without a hard drive, so whatever I do, well, it won't boot. it won't do anything. It literally gets to about this far, and then yeah, that's about as far as it goes. All it needs now is just a simple IDE hard drive and an operating system, and then we should be golden. I've marginally fixed the Windows key. Still missing the mechanism for one of these keys here, but I think this is alright. The battery even keeps a charge, which is actually incredible. Yeah. So there's that one. And we're going to move on to the Dell Latitude CSX. Here is the Latitude CSX. This computer I've owned for a while in its non-functional state because its motherboard had died, but I've replaced the motherboard in a video, you may have seen that, and it functions, it just doesn't have a hard drive in it just yet. And it needs some more memory, and then after I've done that it'll work fine. I mean, you can go into the setup utility, but that's really all it can do. Because, yeah, it's got a 500 MHz Pentium 3, 128 megs of RAM. I didn't mention the specs on this one. This one's just got, I think it's 500 meg Celeron with 16 or 64 megabytes of RAM. And there's another upgrade card that's proprietary, sort of, that you can't stick in here. It's very unused, weird. Yeah, it has a lot of the options for the docking station, because this is a computer like the ThinkPad X220, which is designed to be docked. it's alright. The cooling system is a bit meh, because it's one of those computers where the fan only kicks on if it's literally going to fail from overheating. So it's not very reliable. I don't know, maybe there's a mod I can do that enables the fan to work 24/7. I think this computer was built in 2000 or 1999, one of the two. I'm not very sure with these era of Dell models that use the 3-pin PA6 adapter. Aside from that, it works perfectly fine. I'm not sure if the PA6 adapter also uses a sense pin. It probably does, since it's 3-pin, you got your live, your neutral, and your sense. But yeah, I have about 2 of these that require this sort of connector now, and still missing the connector for it. I mean, the actual official power adapter, which they're quite cheap. So I'm going to move on to another computer whilst I prepare the charger. This is the HP DV4000, or most commonly known as the DV4354EA. I don't know if that model means anything to anyone. It's a media center laptop like the DV6, except unlike the DV6, this one has, at least as far as my knowledge, absolutely no failing chipsets, or no dying graphics cards. I think this thing actually uses integrated graphics, like what I would like that one to have. But we're okay. I mean, it's got a wide screen, as we've pointed it out. Media buttons, I mean, it's got a DVD button, a music button, a Wi-Fi switch to turn your Wi-Fi on and off, multi-card reader, bright view display. We've got a Centrino, a decent, powerful Pentium M processor. XP, but what you expect is an XP era machine. Don't think our disk drive wants to eject, but that's our disk drive. We've got our audio, microphone, USB, VGA, S-Video and Kensington lock. And on this side you've got the power, modem, Ethernet, the expansion port 2, which I believe is for a docking station, Firewire, USB, our multi-card reader, and lastly our PCM, CIA and card bus adapters, which I can demonstrate by removing all of these at the cards. So this can support both card bus and PCM CIA, so that's pretty damn good. Due to no hard drive, in fact I'll demonstrate what's actually the issue here. Just shut it down. Got to press down in that weird little crack because it's a bit bulgy, and I don't know if that's the hinge. Probably is the hinge, to be honest with you. Yeah, here's the issue. We've got the connector here for the hard drive, and there's no caddy and there's no cover. So in addition to me having to find the caddy and the cover, it's going to need a new hard drive as well. Thankfully the Windows product key was not on the drive cover, so I should be able to get away with using that. I think I may have pushed the card button thing slot into the wrong hole. Oops. Well, that's the HP DV6. Swivel it around. Here's our information. Pavilion DV4000. Had 1 year warranty. Pretty nice. Wonder how much year warranty this one had. In fact, I haven't checked. Don't really care, to be honest. So that is the DV4000. We're going to move on to something that actually does boot into Windows for once. This is the Iridium Starbook 620. I think it's an Actina notebook of some sort. It's a cheap Chinese Pentium 4 laptop. It's got 512 megabytes of RAM, an Intel Pentium 4 processor, and an odd choice of operating system. It's 2 gigahertz. I'll just point that out. And it's got Windows 98. I think it's 2nd edition, I think. This thing is designed for XP, but VXD. Yeah, that's an issue I need to fix. Don't even know where dfx.vxd would live. I seem to have lost the card bus cover inside the DV4000. I'm going to have to take that apart, which is annoying because I really don't want to scuff up the case on that because it's mint. I'll keep poking around with paper clips and screwdrivers to see if I can grab it. But it's not looking good. I seem to have pushed it further in. Yeah, I'll have to disable the Microsoft network it's not needed anyways. It's got the audio drivers, got the video drivers, and I'm pretty sure it's also got the LAN drivers, but of course it's not plugged into any local area network, so it wouldn't do anything. In fact, its wireless card has been removed, not by me, by whoever previously owned it. There's not much to talk about with this machine. I mean, it is literally just a Windows 98 machine. I mean, we could boot up CPU-Z, but you've already seen what the computer is in the BIOS screen. So if I just oh, I forgot, left click. Because this has a broken button here, I have to use the touchpad click as right click. And I've used left click as right click and mousepad as left click. I know it says Windows Me, but it is Windows 98 2nd edition. Yeah, 480.0 megabytes of RAM, which is about 512. Pentium 4 mobile, typical stuff. It's even got a lovely Hitachi desk star, a travel star, which makes lovely weird noises that makes you think it's going to die. Oh, and a fan that ramps up when the Pentium 4 gets to about 9,000 degrees Kelvin. Yeah, the control panel's the same sort of deal with Windows 98. I mean, it is Windows 98, just to confirm. Let's load up CPU-Z. Nothing better to do with myself. It's the Windows 9X version. Very helpful. There's our processor. It's a Northwood Pentium 4 socket 478 MPGA. Pretty good. I mean, it's got MMX and SSC and SSC2. It's not hyper-threaded, but who needs that? Oh, there we go. That's the model of the computer. It's an N243S1 Actina, or Sanyo in other countries. Yeah, Sanyo make laptops. I'm pretty sure their brand name is just slapped on the laptop. I'm pretty sure it has no affiliation with the company at all. So yeah, this one I think was broken, but it still technically is classed as broken due to the battery being a malfunction, but I think this was mostly broken due to driver issues and the BIOS battery being dead. But at the moment, this is actually, oddly enough, my favourite. This is actually the one computer I absolutely adore in the collection. This was technically my first laptop. This is before the Compaq NX6110. Yes, it came with 2 sticks, 256. Originally, that was just scribbled on there. No HG, that's a lie. I've got that drive in there. Yeah, so that is a Starbucks 620. Model numbers there. It takes 20 volts, but I stick it on 19 volts because to be on the safe side. I did long screw the board over there by accident, which may have damaged something. I don't know if filling in that trace I cut with solder paste is going to help. I don't know. Yeah, there's a Windows XP product key if you want it, because I ain't going to use it. I don't know what 2 CPU means. Maybe it's a company. But yeah. Do not block the airway. Yeah, you'll regret it. In fact, this computer has gotten so hot it has actually nuked one of its original memory sticks. So now I try to avoid running it for long periods of time, or if I do, which I have tested out with this little fan pad, it runs perfectly fine. So that is the Iridium Starbucks 620, or Actina N243S1. And we're going to move on to a couple of machines that I don't need to turn on whatsoever. This is the HP G6 2276SA. It is a Intel Core i3 soldered on. It's got Altec Lansing speakers, Dolby Advanced Audio, like most HPs, and it is knackered. The motherboard has had a faulty charge controller IC, although I'm pretty sure that's not the only thing that's dead on the board. I don't know if replacing it will help bring the board back to life. I have accidentally knocked 2 small components off with my soldering iron, and I don't know if I've soldered them back on properly. Who knows? There's also crap tons of flux on there, which has probably now started to eat away the traces, and I'm pretty sure this entire motherboard is going to need replacing. which is sad, but it's nice. It's a nice computer. Other than that, I like it. It's designed for Windows 8, so this will be a Windows 8 machine when it gets fixed. It has about 6 gigs of RAM in it at the moment, although I think I've nicked it for something else. And no hard drive, because, you know, personal data. I got this from a family member. Spilled wine on it, and it's got a webcam. And it's blue. Like, come on, it's blue. I had to keep it if it's blue. Unlike its boring predecessor, the G56, it's just, yeah, that was too far gone to fix. The fact I've broken the screen as well, and just, nah, so that one's long gone, along with the two Chromebooks, those have both been binned. So we're going to move on to the everyone's favourite computer. I think the most people that like my channel is because I have this thing. It's a Macintosh PowerBook 140. The poor sod, I mean, honestly. I really want to get this thing going. But firstly, I need to tackle this, which is the display ribbon cable. There are two options I can try, which is to solder wires to these pins back here, which may not work, because I don't know the pin out or which wire goes where, so I don't know where to hook what pin up to what trace. The fact I need to recap the screen as well. I've ripped all the capacitors off so it can't do any more damage, so that's good. May have taken a pad out, I think, or half a pad. Backlight cable, that needs to be fed somewhere because there's no rear chassis, because that's all gone. Threw it away for a stupid reason. Hinges, they're very stiff. I think those need to be, this one's a bit meh. Yeah, those inverter probably needs recapping as well. A hard drive, I was building a SCSI to SD module, which is in that cardboard box there. But I went wrong while soldering it. I was too cocky while filming it, and I ended up screwing the whole thing up, so I'm going to have to take that apart and put it back together again properly without a camera. Here's the floppy drive, which it technically boots from, although I can't see anything because there's no screen. Macintosh System 7, I think it's got about 8 megabytes of RAM or 2 megabytes of RAM. It's got 4 megabytes of RAM, my bad. 2 megs on board and 4 meg upgrade card, so that make 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 megabytes, I think. Yeah, it's got a speaker. It makes a chime when you turn it on. I've demonstrated the chime thousands of times, and I just can't be bothered to plug it in. Yes, I know, I'm lazy, but I'm not going down there to find the charger until I've at least got it to a functional condition. So, but we're just going to have to get out of the way for the time being. Here's another computer that I won't be bothering to turn on either. It's this. It technically isn't broken. I don't know why it's on the crippled shelf, but it's not broken. This is the Asus EPC900. There. Intel Celeron of some sort. It's I'm pretty sure it's got an mSATA hard drive in there. And 1 or 2 gigs of RAM. Haven't broken the warranty seal just yet because I haven't had to. It's literally like the 701 except a few differences. The colour, it's black, which is actually really nice, sexy black colour. And the screen is bigger, there's no giant speaker bezels on the side. I'm going to press the power button, but I doubt anything will happen. Nope. It's dead. So yeah, we're going to have to find a power adapter for that. So that's all the machines at the moment, I think, that don't turn on. I'm going to move on to one that requires the television there to run properly. This is something I forgot about, actually, in the netbook video. This is the Sylvania WM8650 netbook. It's just one of those plastic, fantastic netbook things that exist. I mean, here are the specs. I don't even have to go into the system details to talk about it. Because you can't change them. Yeah. It runs Windows CE 7.0, I think. It used to run Android 2.2 Froyo, and that was unbearable. It was far too buggy to be used properly. I mean, the Windows CE isn't any better, but at least with Windows CE I can do stuff with it, because there's actually my Windows CE machine that I can play around with and test programs on. In fact, it even has a VNC built in, so I can literally just leave that plugged in, connect it to the network somewhere, and I can access it remotely and do stuff with it. That's if it doesn't crash, which this does quite often. it has a tendency to crash. I don't know if this is a hardware crash or a software crash. Something's unreliable in here. Yeah, it is very slow. Just get rid of that. The speakers, they're the finest, tinniest pieces of crap you can think of. This is actually probably better than most really bad speakers. In fact, it's so bad that it makes me want to tear my ears out sometimes when trying to listen to Kasha. But there it is. There's the operating system information. Boom. There's nothing much else to name. The device name I've just simply called Sylvania. Device description: compact, which I believe is Chinese for netbook. So that's that. Gonna power that one down, embedded compact 7, you know, all that lovely stuff. And I completely forgot about this because it's so small. So now we've got that out of the way, we can move on to the RM M5200. So this is the RM M5200N. It still has a cracked LCD, but I believe they may have sourced not the correct panel, but at least one that might fit. There it is. Its BIOS battery's knackered in it, so you have to just meh. I don't even know where the battery is on this thing. Maybe not even have one. Yeah, it's loading Windows XP. But that's the main bit. At least it's loading XP. This used to have a domain-locked XP Professional on it from an educational institution. Of course it wouldn't work, so I had to wipe it. But it probably wasn't the RM default OS anyways. Because this is based off of an Asus M5200N. As with the GT8000, which is based off of a Samsung notebook. Yeah, this is basically just one of those really small ones, but it has managed to incorporate a DVD drive into its compact size, unlike many of the other sub-notebooks I have. Seems to have booted Windows, but there's nothing on the display. Oh, maybe I just got an FM, switch to LCD CRT mode. Oh, the screen's gone off, but we still got nothing on the panel. No, we have absolutely nothing on the screen. That is very weird. That's never done that before. Let's try again. LCD CRT out. No. Well, that's unusual, but what? I've never had to install drivers for this TV before. I've plugged it in. Huh. Okay, well, hang on. I'll let that do its thing, and I'll come back if I found a solution. Here's another computer that I can't switch on for certain reasons. It's an IBM ThinkPad T42. This is actually the first, quote, real ThinkPad, although I hate it when people use that terminology. It's Intel Pentium M of some sort. No RAM, so that's why I can't switch it on. And the RAM slots, I think, on this are slightly dodgy. It's not got no screws for the key. In fact, it's missing half the screws on the unit as a whole. The T42 is notorious for dodgy graphics cards because of board flexing. However, I found a sort of life hack. If you own a T42, basically just transport it using the back, like never grab the front. Never ever hold it by the front. Always hold it by the back. If you have to transport it, usually you just leave it in a designated spot and just leave it there. Yeah. It looks really nice on the inside, very clean on the outside. Yeah, the exterior really looks a bit naff. If I just roll it over. Here is the bottom of the unit. In fact, it tells you what screws it needs, because that's how Chad IBM are. Here's just some information. In fact, the Windows XP product key just doesn't exist, I don't think. It's my first time actually delving into something like this. No, it's not even under the battery. Wonder where the... Or maybe, I guess IBM is too cool to plaster Windows product keys over their devices. I mean, I can't blame them. Lenovo don't do that either. except they hide theirs under the battery. So yeah, that's the IBM ThinkPad out of the way, and I'll quickly move on to the machine it's sitting on top of. This is the DV6's younger or older brother, I suppose. This is a HP G5000 based off of the Compaq C200, I think. Says it has a Pentium dual core inside, however that's a lie. I think it takes a Core 2, and it has nothing in fact, this computer is totaled, theoretically. The motherboard, I think, is shot in one way or another, but it doesn't switch on or charge, so we might get lucky with that one. It might just be a shorted capacitor somewhere. Yeah, if you plug it in, nothing will come up. There's no CPU in here, there's no heatsink, well, there is a heatsink, but it's a very worn out heatsink. In fact, it's missing a couple bits. This computer is in tatters, basically. And I'm really not sure how I would go about restoring this, because I want to restore it. And yeah, you can see practically how badly, because this was actually ripped apart by its previous owner to get at its valuable innards. Now, it's got your audio jack, USB, DVD multi-recorder, nice power jack that doesn't actually do jack. In fact, I don't know if it's just me, or does the power jack look burnt? Maybe the power jack is the problem. We shall actually measure the power jack when I inevitably go to test it for restoration purposes. Yeah, it's got your VGA, S-Video, Ethernet, USB, where the massive kink in the board is, but thankfully it hasn't. Massive kink in the cover hasn't damaged the motherboard or the ports. So that's the HP G5000. It basically looks like, well, this one's older brother, and that one's older brother, and this one's younger brother, because this is the oldest. In fact, what's the oldest HP I own? I think it would be the Compaq NX6110, due to that one being a business machine. I'm not sure. I don't actually have anything mega old that's HP. Who knows? Maybe that one, or the NX6110 is the oldest. Anyway, I'm going to move on to a Mac now. This is a 2012 MacBook Pro A1278 13-inch. Powering it on doesn't yield any impressive results because I'm pretty sure it's on charge. That hasn't burnt up. Try again. No, we're getting absolutely nothing out of this. Is this actually plugged in? Oh yeah, it is. It's the stupid plug I have down. Maybe this is completely dead. Because it's on charge. It's receiving power. It's just not turning on. Just gonna do a big press. No, it's not turning on at all. It is completely dead. Brilliant. So that's a potential profit down the drain. I hate it when this happens. Try perhaps plugging the charger in the other way round. Sometimes I can yield wondrous results. Supposed to be a little white light down here. Maybe the charger's stopped working again. It's that damn plug socket, I swear. Nope. Nope. Looks like Henry's MacBook Pro has killed itself. Great. This is literally just what I wanted to happen. Not. Damn, now that's just cost me 2 iBook clamshells, an Xbox power supply, an iPhone 4 and a friggin' iMac. Great, now I've lost all of that because you've decided to die. Thank you, brilliant, I hate you. One reason why I wanted to get rid of this bloody thing, because it was too much of a stress for me to keep around, and, well, now you've proved it. That is weird. That's never happened before. But looks like yeah, the MacBook Pro has indeed killed itself. Well, in that case, I think that concludes the laptop collection because I can't think of any other machine I haven't displayed yet. No, I think that's everything. Because I usually store all those ones over there. There's nothing in that box, by the way. It's just the Mitsubishi's motherboard. Yeah. What a very negative note to end on. That's really bad. I know there's no battery in here. I could try plugging a battery in and see what happens, but then that would leave one of my machines without a battery. And considering I'm trying to sell as many as possible, it's not good. Not good at all. Well, I'm not really going to show it working on camera. I mean, it's a 2012 MacBook Pro. I mean, just Google it. Google the specs. I believe it just has 4 GB of RAM in it, and a Samsung hard drive of some sort, and macOS Snow Leopard. I think it's got Snow Leopard on it. I can't remember. I would show it off if it decided to work. But no, it has decided to completely die on me, so great. In that case, thanks for watching. I've got to tidy this mess up, and yeah, see you in the next video, I guess.